Hello everyone and welcome to Appalachian Homeco. So today in this video we are going to be learning how to make these beautiful felt flowers using our Cricut Maker 3. If you are new to Cricut and you don't know what the Maker 3 is, it is a smart cutting machine that allows you to create personalized projects with hundreds of materials. It works with software called Design Space that comes free with your machine. And this is where you can create your project and browse through hundreds of images and different fonts. Once you've created your design, Design Space will then send it to your machine to cut your project. So now we're going to go ahead and start with this project, and I'm going to show you all the materials that you need to get started. So here is all the materials that I'm going to be using for today's project. I'm going to be using a hot glue gun and some glue sticks. This is Gorilla brand. I'm going to be using the Cricut brand felt. This is in the Summer Sky sampler, and I'll quickly show you the colors that comes in this sampler. So it has a dark purple, a red, kind of an ice teal blue. There is a light green, spring green color. There's a peach color. You get brown with this sampler, a really pretty gray, medium gray color. And the three colors that I'm going to be using today, this really bright pink, the darker green color, and then the yellow also comes in this sampler. And again, for these peonies, I'm going to be using these three last colors in today's project. When you actually open up your felt, it has directions for you on the back of your felt. It says which cutting mat that you need to use and how to load your felt onto your mat. Most of the time with fabric, you use the pink fabric grip mat, but for the felt, we are going to be using the strong grip cutting mat, and that's going to be your purple mat. So we're going to be using this mat today. So you can actually do this with your Explorer Air 2 as well as your Cricut Maker. So we're going to be using the Cricut Maker 3. Down here it says you can use Cricut Explorer and Cricut Maker both with your felt. So if you have both machines, you can use either one of this for this project. Optionally, you can use the brayer tool. This is going to help roll your felt onto your mat. But I'm just going to be using my hands. But if you have one of these are very handy as well. In your project details, it also calls for some floral tape and floral wire. And then again, I'm going to be using the Cricut Maker 3 for this project. And we're also going to be using the rotary blade with our Cricut Maker 3. Now I'm in Design Space on my laptop. I'm going to go ahead and search in here felt peonies, because that is the flowers that we're going to be making with our felt. Under Cricut projects, here is a felt peony. So if you click on it, it will come up with all of the project details that you're going to need, including all the machine mats, the rotary blade, everything that I just went over. The only difference is in your project notes, it's calling for a fabric grip mat, which is the pink mat. But since the actual felt packet did call for a strong grip, I'm just going to go ahead and use the strong grip today. It also gives you all of your project details, how to prepare, cut, and assemble all of your flowers. You can print all of this out if you want to have it handy next to you to follow as you're assembling these flowers, which is what I did. You can customize this if you need to, but since this is already set up for me to go, I'm going to go ahead and make it. Since I am using the Cricut Maker 3, I'm going to be using the felt on mat. So I'm going to select on mat and hit continue. And now everything is set up, ready to go. So the first cut is going to be my yellow mat. The second cut is going to be the green. And then last, we are going to have the pink mat, which is going to be our pink felt. Mine, for some reason, has two separate mats for this felt, but I want everything on mat number 3. So I'm just going to go to mat number 4, and I'm going to move those objects back to the third mat. You can move them and then just drag them down to the empty space. I still have some room down here at the bottom right. I have plenty of room for these extra 2 petals, so I'm just going to put those back on my third mat and then just drag those down to the right hand corner, and then I'm going to have plenty of room to fit everything on one piece of felt. And once I have all of those moved, I'm just going to hit continue, and we're going to go ahead and start cutting these out. So we're going to be starting with the yellow. I'm going to hit continue. And now you want to go into browse all materials. We're going to be cutting out felt, so I'm going to type in felt in my search. Now there's several different types of felt. If I select this regular felt, it's going to call for just my fine point blade. So this is something that I kind of had to play around with and test out before I actually cut this project. But I'm not going to select regular felt. I'm going to select the felt acrylic fabric. This is going to allow me to use my rotary blade. So I'll select that and hit done. And now you can see that it has the rotary blade to load in your clamp B. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that as it is. And now we're ready to load our mat and start cutting out our project. So now I'm going to go ahead and load my felt onto my mat. You just want to remove the protective covering over your strong grip mat. And then I'm just going to line up those corners and kind of rub down the felt. My load button is blinking on my machine, which means it's ready to load. So I'm going to install my mat under the guides on each side of my machine. And I'm just going to apply very light pressure against my mat and hit the load button. And now my mat's going to load. And the machine will run your mat through to check the mat length to make sure you have enough mat to cut your project. Right now I have the fine point blade installed, so I'm going to take that out. And we are going to be using the rotary blade for this project, which has a single cutter on the end. So the way you install it, there is a plastic cap on your cutting wheel. You want to make sure that flat end of the cap is against your machine when loading. And now we're ready to cut our project. You just want to hit the flashing arrow button on the right side of your machine to start cutting your project. So I'm just going to press the unload button. And now I'm ready for my next mat, which is going to be the green mat. To unload your mat, you want to flip it completely over and pull your mat away from your material. This will ensure that your material doesn't tear or stick to the mat. And you can see this turned out super great using that rotary blade. Now I'm just going to continue cutting out each mat as it is showing on my computer screen. This is the green mat, and next I will do the last mat, which is our flowers. Now I'm unloading the final mat, and I'm just going to remove all these pieces. If you have a bunch of pieces that are sticking to your mat, you can use the little spatula tool that comes with your Cricut tools kit, and this makes it so easy just to remove those little pieces from your mat. Now have all the pieces cut out, we are ready to assemble our flowers. Okay, so now all of my petals are cut, my leaves are cut, and my middle part is cut. I also have some floral wire cut. I have about 7 pieces that are about 7 inches long, and then I have 2 pieces that are about 10 to 12 inches long for the flowers. So first I'm going to take the middle part and make the middle part of my flower. I'm going to take one long stem of floral wire, and I'm just going to glue it to one end of this fabric. So next what you want to do is take these 2 smallest petal pieces. These are actually for the flower buds, so I'm going to do those in just a minute. I'm going to need a cotton ball to go with those. So first we're just going to take our hot glue gun that is already hot, and I'm going to start with these smallest pieces here. The first thing you want to do is take this little end here with the slit, and I'm just going to, just like that, so that it creates a little pocket there. And now I'm going to take the larger slit, and I'm also going to glue these together as well so that it creates a little petal. So I'm just going to take some hot glue here and glue those together as well. Okay, so now I have all the smaller petals done. I'm going to take my stem, and I'm starting with the tiniest petals, and I'm just going to layer these around the bottom of my middle part. Now I'm going to take the larger petals, and I'm only gluing these on that long slit because I want this flower to open up as it comes out on those outer layers. So I'm going to finish gluing all these, and then I'm going to go around and glue all these around the outer edge of the flower. So now we are going to do the little bud, like a little rosebud. This is going to be a peony bud. I'm going to fold these and glue them exactly the same way. And I also have this cotton ball. I'm going to be gluing these around the cotton ball to give them a center as well. Now I have the flowers completely finished. Next we are going to do the greenery. I'm going to start by adding this green base to the larger flower. You just slide it up the little stem and glue it with some hot glue. And next we are going to make the leaves. You want to take the smallest green pieces that are the leaves, and you're just going to assemble those kind of like you did the petals. These are going to go on that smallest flower, the little bud, and I'm going to glue those around the base. Next, you want to take those long green leaves, and I'm just placing a bead of glue along the center, and then I'm placing those little short pieces of metal wire down the center. You want to just fold this so that it kind of looks like a leaf on the end of your wire. The shorter the line of glue, the more open your leaf is going to be, so just keep that in mind when you're making these. So now I have all of my stems made. The last step is going to be taking this floral tape and wrapping them together. I'm going to make mine kind of look like a branch of leaves, and I'm just taking that floral tape and wrapping around these stems to hide the wire. Then I'm going to be placing them together and wrapping everything together. So I went ahead and attached the rest of the leaves and wrapped all this in floral tape, and here are the peonies. I think they are so pretty. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. Now you can set these in the vase. You can make more of these and make a whole bouquet if you want. You can create flowers just like this for spring, fall, summer, any season using different colors. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks again to Cricut for sponsoring this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll have all the products and materials that I used in this video linked down below for you guys. I hope to see you back again soon in my next video.